I cannot feel peace or like I'm in my power when I'm around my coworkers. Another client says, I cannot feel and focus on what I want because of my family member when they're around. I want to address this because these are different clients that have talked to me about different circumstances in their life with different relationships, coworkers, family members, and they're saying that they feel really empowered when they're away from them, when they're away from work or away from their family member or certain people in your life, but that when they're like alone or away from them, that they're zen and they feel cool and they feel empowered and they can focus on their desired end. But when they're around, all hell breaks loose and they can't focus anymore and they get irritated and they're like scrambling around like little hamsters on wheels trying to get back to their power. I want to address this because this is reacting to the 3D, and I want to dive into this, especially because it is Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to everyone. And I'm going to break down a little further about the concept or construct of relationships and its role here in 3D so that you start looking at people, specifically your family and friends, or really your family. You start looking at them on a much more deeper, loving level that it was always intended for. So stick with me. You're really going to like this, and you'll be able to play this for Mother's Day, Father's Day, or whenever you have a sibling's birthday or whatever, because I think it's really important that we start loosening and detaching from these constructs of parental roles or familiar roles in a way that it actually is going to feel good for you. So welcome, my name is Rose, and welcome to The Rosey Life, where we help you free your mind and follow your heart so you live a life that you love. If you're interested in working one-on-one with me, you know what to do. The information's below, or you can join the TheRoseyLife course and community. Information's below. I show up every Wednesday answering questions live, and I'd love to have you. And of course, thank you so much for subscribing to TheRoseyLife. Thank you for liking the videos. Thank you for your love and support. I truly appreciate you, every single one of you. And on my Instagram post this morning, I mentioned that, you know, it's not just the role of a typical mother. It's literally every man and woman that I've ever come across since I was a child has played an instrumental role in my life in developing as a person in this 3D, and I give great gratitude for even every single one of you are nurturing me in a mothering way as well by being here and giving me your love and support. So thank you. All right, so a couple different clients this week, okay, had expressed frustration. One of them was about a sibling and in saying it's very difficult for them because they're both manifestors and they're both into the law, and they're just have a slight different perspectives or about what their conditions are and what it really means, and so one of them's trying to kind of help the other one out. And I've actually seen this quite a bit with different dynamics with parent and child, with BFFs, with siblings, and I've seen this quite a bit, okay, and it gets really tangled up for different people because of the blood relationship, because of the title of mom or dad or child or sister or brother or son or daughter or auntie or uncle or grandma or grandpa, right? That those titles somehow have this extra power that we just give it to them. We just assume that they deserve extra power. Even when I was a psychotherapist, I would talk about this, that just because someone has the title of mom or dad doesn't mean that they automatically have the end-all be-all word and that they know best for you and that they deserve automatic respect, trust, those kind of things, just because of the title. So do you see, that's a label that we give, and labels in the human race have a lot of meaning attached to it. And so that makes perfect sense, going back to these clients, that they're struggling because of their sibling, right, or their parent, that they feel like, or their child, because it's all kinds of relationships that I'm talking about with different clients, but that they feel because because of the status, right, of that label, that there's special treatment that has to be given, that they manifest differently for them, that it's different because they know each other, they grew up together, or you gave birth to that person, and you see them as like kind of like an extra separate thing, that the law doesn't apply to them, that your manifesting doesn't apply to them, that they're separate, that they're not you pushed out, right, that they're different, they're on a whole different category. And that is not true. That is simply not true, okay? So your siblings, your parents, your family members, your children, you can love them and be very grateful for the role that you have given them in your life. You have given them, remember, they're actors in your movie, and you've assigned these roles to them. Did you do it on purpose? No. Did you do it before you were even born? Yes. So these parents that you have, for example, mom and dad, they are vessels or stewards of God. They are channels through which you were created. So they're not owed anything. You can be grateful to your children, grateful to your parents, and of course love them, but love them as much as you love me, as much as you love a stranger on the street. Love them as anyone else. And you're not really, and the goal here that I want to really underline, it's not about, oh, well, they have the title, so they deserve respect and honor, right? And we're going to get into this verse. No, it's about loving beyond what you see. And this goes for everyone in your life, parents, siblings, friends, co-workers, everyone. You're interacting and trying to change and force, and you're trying to figure out how to get along with someone based off of the vessel, based off of their appearance, right? Their physical beingness. You're looking and trying to figure out how to deal with or how to react with this vessel. And what I love in one of Eric Butterworth's lectures is he talks about that you love the light in that person more than you love the physical part of them. You get that? So we love the light, meaning you love the God in them more than you love their title of mom, dad, sister, friend, son, daughter, husband, wife, girlfriend, child, anything. You love God in them, because that God in them is the same God that's in you, in me, in all of us, which is really getting to this on a deeper level of what unity means, that there's only one. There's only one God, one cause, one creation, one love. But if you're trying to separate the love, you're trying to separate God. And how do we separate? By identities of this is mom, this is sister, this is dad, this is coworker, this is child. Now you're trying to separate them from the love of who they really are within. But when you love the God that's within them more, way more than the title that they have, and that includes a stranger on the street, right? Anyone, your neighbor, a friend, anyone. Now you are in sync. It's that namaskar, right? It's that the love in me sees the light in you. So the light in me sees the light in you. That is what you're connecting with, and you are really, that power, right? It just really, I feel like it just, if you've ever been like, when I go hang out with my friend Elizabeth, and I'm hanging out with her in a couple days, it's like when the two of us get together, she's another coach on Your Highest Light on her own YouTube channel, but when her and I get together, it's like fireworks goes off. It's like we're flying and riding on rainbows together. We become like unstoppable little unicorns, and we're in our own world, because we're like that individually, but when we come together, because we both see the light in each other, and we already know we're on that same wavelength of how we speak, we can talk about thousands of things really rapidly, and we're both on the same page. You see, it's like that boom, because we see the light in each other. And sometimes this can be a little bit of a challenge at the beginning, I'm not going to lie, because it was for me, especially with my son. But when I began to do it, I began to feel safe and secure, and I felt the safety that is in him. I felt like I could relax and take a deep breath, like it was no longer my responsibility to make sure he was happy or loved or provided for in any way. It was no longer, I freed myself and I just identified the love in God that's in him, and that is what I remember when I see him more than what I see on the surface. Doesn't mean I don't enjoy him being silly and goofy and pranking me all the time, which I like, but it doesn't mean I don't enjoy that. But I love that light in him way more, because that is what I have security and safety, and I feel the ever presence of God when I do that with anyone. So I wanted to bring up this scripture, especially because it's Mother's Day. And when I was a kid, I used to hear the 10 Commandments. And by the way, this is also kind of piggybacking off of a comment on a video that I made, I believe from yesterday, the day before yesterday. And someone commented, they said, hold up, Rose, what about the 10 Commandments? Right? She had a question about the 10 Commandments and said, what do those mean then? Because I thought if we broke one of those, that's sin and we're going to hell. And you can look at my comment. It was pretty lengthy, my response that I gave her, because the 10 Commandments are actually not just, a lot of people have taken them literal, right? And they're like what I call a good outline, right? A good outline for a 101 beginner in learning, your divine self, and learning what to do on this 3D, right? That it's just like their parameters or their good ideas. However, they're not what they have, the face value of them. When I look deeper into the metaphysics behind them, it is completely different than what we are reading and what we were taught in Sunday school by a pastor. Almost like, if you don't follow these, you're going to go to hell and you're going to go burn in some fiery lake, and you're going to hell because that's bad. You did a bad thing and there's no recovery. It's unforgivable. You can't. Do you see? So that's how it's taught a lot, but it's actually not. And we're going to cover the 5th commandment today, which is, honor thy father and thy mother, so thy days may be long and prosperous. And that is in Exodus 12:12 and 20:12. And now this is in the New Testament, okay? But even in the Old, this is the Old Testament. But even in the New Testament, Jesus kind of upgrades or levels up that as well. So it's, the commandments are not just in Exodus, they are sprinkled throughout the Bible. So so let's look at this. So when you think about honoring thy father and thy mother, the first thing a lot of people think of honor is respect, right? You have to respect me, and you have to respect your mom. And no matter what, even if they're a jerk or whatever, you still have to respect your mom because they gave birth to you and you owe them. That is the kind of attitude that a lot of parents have with their kids, that a lot of children have with their kids, even if it's unspoken, even if those words are not uttered, it is a given that is supposed to be a thing, okay? So respect also is also introduced as tolerant, right? It's like you have to tolerate them. No matter what your mama does, you have to put up with it. You have to tolerate it, right? Because it's your mom, period. Right? It's like gets the go past jail card on Monopoly, and so does dad, but mom definitely. Do you see? So it's more about being tolerant. It's not, there's no love happening there. You're doing it out of obligation. You think you're obligated to respect, honor, and love your parents. Not because you choose to, but because you are obligated to do it. Do you see? So mom and dads, you guys, are only vessels, right? Only vessels for God, because your true parent is God. God is your true and only parent. There cannot be more than one. Yes, in this 3D experience, you had the experience of your mom and dad had experience of giving birth to you, but God is your true and only parent. And God actually had your mom and dad as stewards, right? Gave them as stewards of him. So God used your mom and dad as stewards and entrusted them with you, because your true parent is God. So we can be grateful to our parents for raising us, for feeding us, for giving birth to us. We can be grateful, but the true respect and honor is to God, your one and only parent. That is the true one and only parent, is God, because there's only one creator, only one cause, only one from behind everything, before sun, before the mountains, before everything was created. God was, and always will be the one and only cause. So God is our only parent, which is why you hear that you are a child of God or a child of the universe. All right, so you can be grateful, remember, but the honoring belongs to God. So this scripture, this commandment, refers to God, because God is father and mother. God isn't masculine. God isn't feminine. God is both. God is fathering and mothering. And remember what I just said too at the beginning of the video, that I give thanks to every man and woman. And I said this in my Instagram post this morning. I give thanks to all the women in my life and in all the men in my life, because somehow, some way, they have all been a part of me experiencing being nurtured in this world. And that is a very mothering, feminine thing, right? To be nurtured. And a masculine thing, right, is what you think. So this is not gender here. Honor father, it has nothing to do with gender, because your father is also the mother. It's everything for us, okay? Because can only be one. So you're the one that separates them, that it has to be different, that there's a dad and a mom. They are one. The two become one. Everything in the Bible refers to one. So again, you can respect them, but the honor and respect truly is to God. And you can be grateful to mom and dad, but you don't owe them anything. And parents, all your children don't owe you anything, right? That those are also, children are stewards. You are a steward for that child, meaning that child belongs to God. That is the Son of God, Christ Jesus. So that child has a father, has a mother, right? And you are a steward in this 3D, acting in a role as a father, as a mother, but that child belongs to God. So the child doesn't owe you anything. My child doesn't owe me anything, right? So you love the light of them. That is what you love. And the same thing with parents. So the thing too is respect, right? Honoring is also tied into respecting, right? Is respect you first. Respect you before all, because if you can't respect yourself, you can't honor yourself, you are not able to honor and respect anyone else. And you might have heard this already. Even as a therapist, I would talk about this, right? But this is going deeper, because respecting you first is respecting and honoring God, because you are that child of God and you are one with God. And so respecting yourself and honoring yourself is the most important thing, because without that, you are unable to respect others. And when you're respecting and honoring yourself, you are honoring your Father. You are honoring that relationship, that oneness with the I am. So I am in them, right? I am in them so in other words, you're looking at the I am within your mom and dad, within your children, within your siblings, right? That is what you're honoring. That is what you're loving, more than that title that you have given them, right? The title meaning mom, dad, sister, brother, friend, co-worker, all of it. That is what you're honoring. You're honoring that I am within them, that is the exact I am that is within you, that is with all of us. And that is how you start feeling more of that oneness that you hear so many teachers talk about, or so many coaches or books that have written about this, right? You start really identifying the oneness in all that there is. And if you're caught up in the character of what they're saying, doing, thinking, how they're dressing, how they're acting, what they did, that they disappointed you, that they didn't come through, that they blah, 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 you're you're still caught up in the costume. And honoring them is just remembering that who is in them is greater than he that is in the world. So he that is in you, and you and mom and dad and sister and coworker and everyone, is greater than he who you are seeing, touching, hearing, smelling in the world. You get that? So you are a child of God. There is only one love. There is only one God. There is only one source, one cause, one beginning, and it is always going to be the beginning and the end, right? So I hope that this video was helpful for you, and just to really deepen that when you're having an experience like at work or with coworkers and you're saying, you're like, oh, I'm fine until I get there, or I'm fine until they call me, right? You're reacting to their costumes and you're forgetting who they are, and you're forgetting who you are, that you have that divine light that's in them. It's in you, and connect to that. Remember who you are, and do it again and again until you see it, because you will see them change. And that reflection that you keep seeing in them, that reflection must change. All right, my loves, I hope you enjoyed the video. Again, thank you for liking and subscribing, and I will see you all soon, and you're all freaking amazing. Bye.